I had a huge black plastic bag where I kept my clothes because I knew that I wasn't supposed to be there. Hey dolls, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Bernice, everybody's big sister, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, please join the hashtag Sister Squad by subscribing and engaging us in the comments, because that's what we do around here. As you can see from the title, today I'm just going to be chit-chatting about Vat and Sit. So I haven't had time of late to sit down and shoot, to prepare a script, because yes guys, we do prepare scripts for YouTube just so that we don't end up rambling. So today's video might be a bit rambly because I don't have a script. I'm just going to be sharing with you my opinion, my experience firstly, my opinion and my advice for, as you can see, Vat and Sit, aka cohabiting. So why am I talking about this? Number one, I did an Instagram poll on my Instagram and I asked you guys, what do you want to see on the channel? And one of the topics suggested was Vat and Sit. Secondly, why do I feel that I'm the girl to talk about it? It's because I have done it. My pastor's gonna die when he sees this, but I've done it. And yeah, not to say I'm ashamed, but not to say that I'm proud either. I'm just saying that I've been there. Okay, so I'm just going to be sharing with you my experience in general. I'm not going to be going into detail. If you think this is going to be juicy or whatever, forget about it. It's not going to be juicy. It's just going to be generalized. So yeah, I happened to live with my partner for about 6 months. Someone might say that's not that long, but yeah, 6 months is half a year. Like, it is a long time, considering that cohabiting means that you're with this person 24/7. That means you wake up with them, you sleep with them, you eat with them, you dine with them. Basically, almost a good portion of the day you are with this person, right? So 6 months is a pretty long time. And if you did not know, that if you cohabit with someone for 6 months in South Africa, you have a right to like claim that person as like your husband or something. That when you break up, you have a right to sue him for his stuff and whatever. This might not be accurate, but I know that when you live with someone for more than 6 months and you can prove it, the state recognizes that relationship as like a very formal relationship. So if you've been living with a guy for over 6 months and you can prove it, and you want to take some of his stuff, girl, get a lawyer. No guys, don't do that. So yeah, firstly, how did it start? Basically, I went over for a weekend and I just didn't come back. Okay, he didn't ask me to move in, I didn't ask to move in, it just happened. Okay, I was there for a weekend, and on the Sunday I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go home. He's like, you'll go home tomorrow. On the Monday night, I'm like, okay. He's like, okay, do you want to go home? I'm like, nah, I'll go home tomorrow. Tuesday, I'm like, I need to go home now. He's like, no, you'll go home tomorrow. And then back and forth, and then eventually I just didn't go home. He didn't complain, and whenever I would suggest going home, he would get all like, why do you want to go home? Like, aren't you comfortable? It was offensive for me to want to go home. So eventually I just stopped wanting to go home, and I stopped going home for 6 months. Not to say that I did not see my parents or my family for that 6 months. I would come home and visit them during the day. Kawanga is like a wife, like you, like when he's busashem. I would come home and visit them for like a few hours, but as soon as it's 6, I'm driving back to my home at the time, and I would come over the weekend on Saturday and visit them and grab a plastic bag and fill it up with clothes. Guys, I was so shady because I didn't want to be too obvious that I'm slowly moving out. I would pack my clothes in like little plastic, literally I'm a shop right now, my chicas. I would pack a few jeans, a few t-shirts, shoes, go back to my home and but funny enough, even at my home at the time, I wasn't like fully moved in. I had a huge black plastic bag where I kept my clothes because I knew that I wasn't supposed to be there, so I didn't want to be permanently moved in. I think around month 4, that's when I started packing some of my stuff in the wardrobes. Now kind of in the spare bedroom, not in the main bedroom. Like that's when I started to like sort of like move in, like leave stuff there permanently. But at the same time, like I always had it in mind that I'm not fully a resident here. But at the same time, I was living there like full time. So yeah, that's how it happened. I did not plan it. He did not plan it. It just happened. We enjoyed each other's company. We enjoyed having each other, having access to each other 24/7. So that's how it happened. So my experience, how was it for me? Guys, honestly, I had a great time. I'm sorry, I had a great time. Like, yo, no way. I had a great time. I don't have any regrets when it comes to cohabiting. I know there's some people gonna be like, how can you be proud of having lived with a guy who didn't marry you and whatnot? But honestly, I had a overall great experience. You know what I mean? I had a great experience because, you know, that person was like, I was very smitten with the person was very smitten with me. You know what I mean? Like, he would be excited to come. He would even call me and be like, I can't wait to get home. You know what I mean? And when he gets home, he hugs, gives me a huge hug and a kiss, tells me he loves me, tells me I'm beautiful, asks me if I've prepared a meal. If I have not, get dressed, we're gonna go eat out. Like, guys, it was honestly, I had a great time. Obviously, I can't say if it would have continued in that pattern for longer had I stayed for more than 6 months. But within that 6 months, like, we had a very functional family unit, he and I, while I was cohabiting with him. You know what I mean? I would cook, but it was not even a prerequisite. Like, I would cook whenever I wanted to cook, you know, or if he was like really craving like uputu, that is his favorite meal, or craving like whatever, but he would be like, okay, today I really would like to eat a wors, can you please cook? It wasn't like, yeah, now that you're living with me, my wife, you must cook, blah blah blah. My experience was really a good one. You know, we had a lot of really good moments. We enjoyed waking up next to each other. You know, we had like a pattern already. You know, we'd wake up, I'd make coffee for us, I'd make breakfast, we'd eat. On certain days he'd be like, no, don't make breakfast, us guys, let's go and eat breakfast out. You know, on certain days I would make lunch, he would come home and eat lunch because he was like flexible with his schedule. Or sometimes he would call me and say, okay, get dressed, I'm taking you to lunch. You know, sometimes we'd go out for dinner. And I think that's also one of the things that I enjoyed about cohabiting, because my partner didn't expect me to cook every day like my mom and her husband. Oh, labo, bafuni papa every day. So at my home, at my house, I didn't have to do that. It wasn't a prerequisite, it wasn't a must, it was an optional thing. Like on days when we were both craving like home cooked meal, or I had the energy or the time or a new idea on what to cook, then yeah, we would cook. But basically, I just had a really great experience. I got very close to my partner. I got really close to everyone that he was close with. I had access to a car, so that was also another privilege where I could drive myself everywhere. That's why it was so easy for my parents to sort of like ease into the idea, because I had a car, so that meant I was able to come home quite often to see them. So but deep down they were not comfortable with me cohabiting before marriage. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know when that period happened, when I was cohabiting, and you will know, and you would have noted how happy and comfortable and, you know, just overall just okay with the situation I was. I would even like post the story and the location. I would tag the location and it would be Guami. Miguel, like I was really happy with the situation. So my mom sat me down and she's like, girl, your dad is not gonna be able to face you and tell you this one, because my dad is one of those dads that doesn't really talk. He only speaks when it's like shibil, but yeah, he has a lot of opinions and he would rather speak through my mom. So my mom sat me down and she's like, girl, you're old enough to make your own decisions. You're old enough to do what you want, to love who you want to love, to live where you want to live. But honestly, for us as your parents, it's not a comfortable thing to know that our daughter is living with a man who hasn't married her. you know. So we would really like for you to come home. We're not telling you what to do, but as your parents, this is how we feel about the situation. And so because I do love and respect my parents completely, I decided to respect their decision and respect their opinions and go back home. So yeah, that's how I stopped cohabiting. But honestly, I don't think I would have stopped had my parents not said come home. I'm being honest. I was enjoying playing wife and mom, you know, so I would not have come home had my parents not asked me to come home. So, but at the same time, I'm thankful that they decided to put their foot down on that one, because at the end of the day, cohabiting, I mean, you never really know how it's gonna go, guys. There's no formula, there's no real you can't really 100% stamp saying it's gonna end up in marriage or it's gonna end in tears. You never know which path it's gonna take. But at the end of the day, just to respect yourself, respect your mom, your dad, respect your culture, respect God, just hold up on moving in with your partner. This thing has no formula, guys. Like, if you feel that you're ready to move in with your partner and you feel that you can handle it, you feel like there's a future there, or there's hope for a future, because guys, honestly, whether you live with a guy or not, you really never really 100% know if you guys are going to be a forever thing. It's not guaranteed. You could date someone for 5 months and get married for a lifetime. You could date someone for 5 years and break up on the 6th one. So you never really know how things are going to go. But from my standpoint, I don't think I'll ever be cohabiting again. At this point, I'm at home. This is my bedroom. I'm literally living back home. If I want to visit a gent, there's no problem. But as far as cohabiting goes, I won't be doing it again. Not to say that my experience was bad or it ended in tears or whatever. I had a really good experience. Like I'm saying, I enjoyed it thoroughly and I don't regret it now. I'll do it again. But I'd do it again, like if I could rewind time, but not now. Okay, because my parents don't approve of it. And yeah, at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people have different opinions. I was talking to a colleague recently and he was telling me what led him to marry his wife, and he was saying that his wife is from the homelands, you know, she's very traditional. So she would come and visit him maybe on a Friday, and then the Saturday morning she'd be like, okay, I need to go home now, take me home. And he'd be like, but you just got here. And he's like, yeah, I'm not your wife, I can't stay here for the whole weekend. You know what I mean? And he said that drove me to marry her, because I really needed her in my life. I realized how happy, how productive, how peaceful I was when she was around. So when she left, I felt the need for her, and that led me to marry her. So there's really different opinions for different men, different approaches. Some men will never live with a woman until they marry them, and some men will want to live with different women until they find the one that they can actually stand. And some men will live with only one woman ever in their entire life, you know. So there's really no formula, but I would advise you to really do it if you really think that there's a future there. There's a future there, because honestly, when you cohabit with someone, you really do invest a lot of yourself. You invest a lot of your time, a lot of your effort, depending on what kind of person you are. For me, when I love with every fiber of my being. And so I will put you first in almost every way, which is not such a great quality. It's a bittersweet kind of quality. But it depends on the type of person you are. But at the end of the day, you do really give a lot of yourself to your partner when you do live with them full time. So if you're ready to give yourself fully like that, then try it out. But if your parents and your morals maybe don't allow you to do it, then don't insist on doing it if it doesn't really go with what you believe and value. So yeah, but for me, I had a really good experience. I actually sometimes miss being a wife and mom. Like, I miss it. It's so much fun. Only because I'm really clingy. So I love it when I have my partner with me 24/7. And my love language is actually quality time. So when you live with someone, you have so much more access to that quality time. So I felt really, really loved at the time, because I had so much quality time with my partner. So, I have nothing really that bad to say about cohabiting. I had a great experience, and it taught me a lot about my partner, it taught me a lot about myself, it taught me a lot about my capabilities, it taught me a whole lot about my flaws as well. You know, through that experience I learned that I actually had a lot of selfish behavior. You know, I really have a lot of control issues. Like, I would want things to go my way. You know, if he says he's gonna be home at 6, he better be home at 6. You know, until this day I still have a really big problem with trying to control what a person does and when they do that. And honestly, when you try to control this, when they rebel the most, so don't even do it. I realized that I had a lot of me behavior. Like, I want to go there, I want to do this, I want to eat this, I want to, you know, I had a lot of me mentality, forgetting that it's a partnership and that, like, you know. So yeah, it taught me a lot about myself. So I don't regret the experience at all. So it differs from person to person. There's no formula. I'm not judging you if you're cohabiting, or I'm not judging if you say you'll never cohabit. This is just my experience and my opinion. So yeah, tell me in the comments down below if you've done it before. Would you do it? Why or why not? And yeah, it's whatever. Let's engage each other in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love you.